Welcome to the Eastside Church Kids Collective Digital Gathering. We are so excited that you are joining us today. It is our fifth Sunday in the Eunoia Beautiful Thinking sermon series. And today, if you are following along on your friendship bracelet that we made a couple weeks ago, we are on the yellow color, which represents kindness. So let's all take a deep breath and say this prayer. Holy servant, help my words to show your love. Lord, may my actions build others up so that they too will know the love of Jesus. Now I wonder, what was one kind thing that you have done today?
I did a puzzle today and wrote words.
Kyler did a puzzle and wrote down the words that his puzzle made today. That was very kind. And
while Mama was on her meeting.
Yeah, so I was working, and that's what Kyler did during my meeting, which was very kind and respectful towards me so I could get my work done while we are working from home and still quarantined. You want to say anything?
Yeah.
What was one kind thing that you did today?
Go bike wine. And ride a two-wheeler bike. And a bounce bike and a scooter.
It is kind to go riding bikes with our friends. Today we are going to be focusing on all things kindness. So we have our Godly Play story, which is another parable, which is a story from Jesus that Jesus told us about. And we know that this is a parable because it's golden. So we'll be hearing this. The story, the Godly Play story that we will be telling is the parable of the Good Samaritan. So we are going to be learning about how someone was kind to someone else. We will also be reading this book later on saying, maybe I can love my neighbor too, which is another way for us to be reminded of how can we be kind to our neighbors. And the Good Samaritan story will answer the question, but who is my neighbor? Who am I supposed to be kind to? And what do you think Jesus says?
Be kind to all neighbors.
All neighbors, but who is your neighbor?
The uncle.
Yeah, maybe your cousins. What about just the people that live next to us? Are those just our neighbors?
Yeah.
Those are our neighbors. What about people that live in another country? That don't live next to us? Are they still our neighbors?
Yeah.
And are we still supposed to be kind to them?
Yeah.
But what if they don't look like me?
Then you should be kind.
Oh, but what if they don't talk like me?
Then you should be kind.
Kindness. Join us for our story and our time together. We are excited that you are here. Hey everybody, now is our time for our Godly Play story. And like I mentioned, we are telling the parable of the Good Samaritan. And we know that this is a parable because it comes in a box, just like a present. And it's the color?
Golden.
Golden, that's right. So we know it's very valuable. Parables are stories that Jesus told the people that followed him to help explain some really hard concepts. This story is especially challenging for a lot of kids, but a lot of adults really struggle with the Good Samaritan. So I'm excited to be able to work through it today with you. Let's see what's in our box. What color is this? Brown.
It's scratchy.
And scratchy. Yeah, it's burlap. And then what else do we have? We have, what color is this?
White.
Kind of white, yeah, kind of a light brown or a sandy tan color. But it's not straight. Kind of windy. Almost like a pathway. Then we have these two cities. We have Jerusalem and Jericho. And we're going to put Jerusalem on the pathway but closest to us, and Jericho on the pathway but farther down. So this long, long road connects these two cities. What else? We have these dark, not circles, but kind of these almost rock-shaped pieces, and we'll put on either side of the road. There's no light in either of these. There's just dark, which can kind of be scary when we're in all darkness. And the road to Jericho was a long, long road. And back then they didn't have cars. So it's kind of scary road. Well, I think that it's all that we have to begin. There was once somebody who knew so much about so many things that people followed him. His name was Jesus. And because he knew so much about so many things, people often asked him questions. And this one time, this lawyer asked him, "Okay, Jesus, what's the most important rule? You have a lot of rules, but what's the most important rule that we should follow?" And Jesus said, "You already know what the most important rule is." And he said, "Yeah, you're right, I do. The most important rule is to love God with all of our heart and to love our neighbor as ourselves." And Jesus said, "Yeah, good job. You got it, right?" He was right. But this person thought that they could trick Jesus. So they asked another question. And they said, "Yeah, but Jesus, who is my neighbor?" And to that, Jesus told this parable. There was once somebody who walked down the long road from Jerusalem to Jericho. Like I mentioned, this was a long, scary, scary road. There was a lot of darkness. All of a sudden, these two robbers jumped out from behind the dark places, and they took everything that this man had. They beat him up, they gave him boo-boos, and they left him on the side of the road with lots and lots of boo-boos. Well, lots of people traveled this road, and so soon came the priest. He was on his way to Jericho, and he saw the man that had been beaten laying on the side of the road. But instead of helping him, he went to the other side of the road and kept walking on his way, just leaving him. There was then another person who walked down the road. This person was called a Levite. And the Levite is somebody who helps to take care of the temple building and who sings songs, and again is another person who worked for God and did ministry for God. But this person, this Levite, saw the person who had been beaten on the side of the road, went to the other side as far away as he could and crossed the road, kept walking without helping this person. There was then a third person who walked down this long, long journey of a road. And this person was from Samaria. He was a Samaritan. And people from Samaria did not like people from Jerusalem, like this man was. And people from Jerusalem did not like people from Samaria. They were not friends. They did not think good things about each other. But this person saw the man who had boo-boos on the side of the road and went to him. And he poured medicine on this man's boo-boos. He got the person up on his donkey. And he helped that person. He brought that person to an inn, carried him all the way to a place like a hotel. He then paid his own money to help pay for the care of this person who had boo-boos.
That's so kind.
Yeah, that's interesting, Kyler. That's so kind, and that kindness is what we're focusing on today.
Mm-hmm.
And if you were to look at this, you've kind of already said this, but let's think about it. That you said that the Samaritan was kind. Tell me why you think he's kind.
Because he paid for him to go somewhere is safe.
Yeah, he paid for someone to go somewhere safe. And for all the medicine and bandages that he needed, right?
Right.
Yeah, he took his time because we're all busy. You know, kind of when I'm thinking about it, the priest probably had a lot of things to do that morning. What if they had a service going on that he needed to go preach to? What if he was doing some kind of outreach ministry in the community? And I wonder if maybe if he did help this person, if he would be seen as unclean and not be able to perform the sacraments that he was going to perform. He was a busy person, wasn't he? Mm-hmm. And so the Good Samaritan took his own time to help somebody who needed help. And same with this Levite. Do you think this Levite showed kindness? Do you?
I don't think so.
Yeah. But we know that his job was a job that I would say was kind, right? You help out at church, you help sing music, you're serving others. That seems like a kind job. But yet he didn't stop to help this person. And of all the people to help and to show love and kindness, it was the Samaritan. But the Samaritan didn't look like the man who was from Jerusalem. They didn't look alike. They were different. And still there was kindness. I wonder if you see yourself in this story. I wonder if one of these people you relate to. I wonder if your parents see any of these people and relate to maybe how someone else has felt. Yeah. Have we ever been the person who got boo-boos? Sometimes. Maybe some of us have been really hurt by other people. Maybe
a lot is going right now. It's hurting people.
Yeah, a lot. Let's be in front of the camera. A lot of people are being hurt right now. We know a lot of names and voices of people who have had really big boo-boos on the road, on the streets, right? And how many people just pass by? Hold on. And how many people just pass by without helping these people that have boo-boos? And then we look at the Good Samaritan and we see how many people are using their voice for good right now, which is pretty amazing, isn't it? And I wonder how we can even go farther than just being a Good Samaritan. Because really, when you think about it, and I've heard a lot of sermons preached on it, and actually Dr. Martin Luther King, he preached on this, and he challenged people, and he said, okay, as Christians, we're called to be the Good Samaritan, right? Like Jesus wants us to care for other people and to show kindness. But can we learn from Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. and go a step farther? So what MLK said was, yes, go care for those people, but then take it a step further. How can you take all the robbers, all of these bad guys off the streets? That's justice. To be able to make sure that the road is always safe for every single person that ever walks down the road. How can we change the infrastructure of society? How can we make sure that people aren't robbing people for other money? How can we make sure that there's light on the road so there isn't darkness where people could hide and take advantage of other people? That's a challenge to think about. What can we do to show kindness and to change the world? So it's not just helping one person, but so that it's helping the whole entire world and all people. Dr. MLK knew kindness and preached on this exact parable, which is pretty special. I wonder what this makes you think of and how you can show kindness today. We are going to do some kind acts at our house, We have kindness rocks at our church that many of you have painted, rocks with beautiful colors. Maybe you've written special notes like be kind, or you are loved, or maybe a rainbow saying you are beautiful. And then we put those rocks by our garden, and then people take those rocks as they want, and then maybe they leave a rock. And I challenge you to do that same activity today. And
I did one with my therapist.
Yeah, you paint rocks with his therapist, Miss Harris. And we paint rocks at church, and we're going to paint rocks today. And then we're going to leave them by our mailbox so that anyone walking by can know that they are loved. And maybe you could draw with chalk on your sidewalk if you have a sidewalk in front of your house, and write kind messages on the sidewalk. Or I wonder, what other kind things could you do for your neighbors?
We could cook stuff and then give it to them.
You could cook stuff. So maybe bake some bread and share it with your neighbor. What did we share with our neighbors last week? We brought what from our chickens? Eggs. We shared our eggs, and that could be a sign of kindness to our neighbors.
And we can share our egg to our neighbor.
Yeah, I wonder if people are going to protests and sharing their voice saying, love your neighbor. That's kind. Yeah, there's a lot to do. I would love to hear what kind thing you're going to do today. So if you can, ask your parents to email or text me, or call me, and we can even FaceTime, and I would love to see what kind things you are going to do today. We'll see you later. Maybe I Can Love My Neighbor Too, written by Jennifer Grant. I live at the corner of 9th and 19th, upstairs in apartment 4A. A building is going up across the street. Week after week, it grows taller and taller, climbing up high in the sky. Mama, will all the new people be our neighbors too? I ask one day. Every single person is our neighbor, she says, whether they live next door or across the street or far, far away. I know I'm supposed to love my neighbors, but how can I love that many people? I ask. Mama gives me a hug. Oh, honey, she says, I'm sure you'll find a way. Maybe start by noticing the ways others show love. A man walks by the construction site, pushing a shopping cart that's stuffed with blankets and bags. The wheels hit a bump in the road and the cart almost tips over. But one of the workers moves fast to catch it and sets it upright again. Helping someone who's just passing by is a way to show love. Maybe I can love my neighbor too. Mama and I walk down to the park just like we do every day. I see a man and a woman up ahead talking to people while they wait at the light. I stare at the pictures on the man's arms while he tells Mama about people who had to leave their homes because they weren't safe anymore. Mama hands a few dollars to the woman who has a purple stripe in her hair. Giving money so people can have a safe place to live is a way to show love. Maybe I can love my neighbors too. At the park, an old man is shouting his dog's name. Shadow, Shadow, he calls. A boy runs after the dog, diving to catch him. A minute later, Shadow is back with his owner. The old man says, thank you, over and over and over. Helping older folks is a way to show love. Maybe I can love my neighbor too. Mama, look at me, I shout, and she waves from the bench under her favorite tree. When I'm all out of breath, I sit at the edge of the sandbox watching the other kids play. A girl tosses me a shovel and pail. Then we build the most elegant castle and dig a moat around it. We decorate it with royal flags made of sticks and seeds and leaves. That was kind of that girl, Mama says when we're walking back home. I like seeing how she loved her neighbor. And the neighbor this time was you. Sharing toys with a new friend is a way to show love. Maybe I can love my neighbor too. There's sand between my toes, and Mama says it's time for the tub. But then we hear a knock at the door. It's our neighbors from upstairs, and they baked us a loaf of bread. Sharing good things to eat is a way to show love. Maybe I can love my neighbor too. At dinner, I tell Daddy, "Guess what? I learned something new today." "That's what I like to hear," he says. "What is it?" "Every person in the whole world is my neighbor," I say, "and I can love them too." I could give my birthday money to someone who needs it more than me, I say, or I could carry groceries or open doors for people who aren't as strong as I am. I pull up my sleeves and show my muscles. There are lots of ways, I say. I can be kind to other kids in the park or even bake something to share with people in our building. I knew you'd find ways to show love to others, Mama says with a smile. Every other person in the whole wide world is my neighbor, whether they live next door or across the street or far, far away. And I know I can love my neighbors too.